Hi, this is Greg from Pensacola, Florida. I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. Tonight is going to be part 5 of the Modular Inn build, the Great Room Part 2. And in this video here, we're going to complete the Great Room tonight. We're going to complete the outer walls. We're going to complete the interior floor, and everything will be painted, and we're going to be ready to move on to the next room. So last week, in the last video, we went ahead, we assembled all the pieces. We put them together. It got the floor together. It was on top of the hardboard, not the hardboard, but the foam core board. Lost the name of it for a minute there. So we got the floor assembled on top of the foam core board. We traced the outline on there. We're getting ready. I was going to go pick up some paint and stuff. I just want to say last week I talked about, remember these double-sided tiles that we did here that have the scrape on the top and bottom? Here's a little tip. When you're putting your walls together, make sure you look at the back side of the wall. In that whole video, the whole time, I was sitting there, I was showing you the front, I was pointing at the top and bottom, and sure enough, I took that block and I put it in sideways. And so, I don't know how it happened, but I was sitting there, I was getting ready to paint, and I picked up one of the pieces, and I'm like, oh, look at that. There's a nice big flat side sticking to the outside. So, something to keep in mind. Make sure you look at both sides of your pieces that you're building, and save you a little trouble, because I had to basically break that piece apart and then redo it on there because that glue dries so hard that I had to put it on the table and basically snap it. So just something to keep in mind. So we're going to go back to the assembly instructions. And again, we're still on page 2. And if you're wondering where the great room is in all of this, it's right here. It's this room right here. In the back later on, we're going to build this big fireplace. And basically that just sets in here. We don't have to glue this in. So in this picture that you're looking at, he actually has a great room, and it's got a big fireplace in it, a couple tables, and the 2 exits. So this is where we left off. We had glued everything together, and it got down here to the floor build. So at this point, if you look, he's got everything together. Yeah, he's got the floor painted. He did the outline, and he's ready for assembly. So that's where we are. That's the last step of this, part of the great room, and then we're going to move on to building the office. Now for the painting, if you come over to page 3 of the build instructions, and then in here, there's going to be a link to, because he uses the Castle Gray painting method. It's down here at the bottom is where it is, now that I think about it. I'm going to scroll down here, right here. So if you look at it, you got the Castle Gray painting instructions, and then you have the Earth Tone painting instructions. And so on the Castle Gray side, basically what I did is I went and picked up the Olympic paints in these 3 colors, the Lava Gray, Quicksilver, and the Abracadabra. So that's my 3 colors. And then if I go back, if you look at the Earth Tone section, again, did the Olympic paint, chocolate truffle, cowboy hat, and gray beige. And that gray beige is pretty light. And so basically, if you look in here, he used the Castle Gray, and he used all 3 levels of highlights on here. I did all 3 levels of highlights myself. And then for the floor, we used just the 2 highlights. When I put down that base coat, I was like, wow, that is really dark on there. And then I went over it with the second color of this brown, and it came out looking really good. So I thought, things looked pretty good. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to run some time lapse, and that's going to show me painting the pieces into Castle Gray, and then after that it'll move right into the painting of the floor, and then I'll show you the assembled piece at the end of the video. Thanks. All right, welcome back. This is the completed piece. This is our first piece that's done on the great room. I've got a pretty bright light on there, so I'm not sure how this color is going to look on the floor. But I tell you, it looks really good with the highlight on there. That highlight coming across that texture on those square floor tiles looks really, really good. I got a couple Pathfinder Iconic Hero pieces in here just for scale reference, just so you can see, you know, what they would look like inside this room. Pretty happy with how this came out on there. If you saw in the time-lapse video, you actually saw me go back and repaint this floor and then one of the wall pieces. I don't know which one it was. But what happened is I got really heavy-handed with that dry brush at first, and I just completely muted out the bottom color. So I went back, I repainted the base coat on there, and then I came back through it. I was much happier with my second dry brush. So I'm going to pull this window out so it doesn't fall out because I didn't glue it in. I'm going to, I think the next room has another window in it. If not, I know the room after the next one does. I'm going to put a bunch of these together and do them all at once, but I'm going to do it in the earth tone colors. That way, there's a little more consistency between this window and this floor color. And I'm not going to throw this one away. I may use it somewhere else on there. But for this room, I just want to see what the consistency in the floor and the window will look like on there, because I really like the way this floor came out. So not going to glue this piece in. Yeah, I'm going to make a few more of those, and that way you can use them in a project. But basically, we did the outside dry brushing on there. Yeah, everything went together really good. So I'm really pleased how this came out. So this will be pretty much the reference piece for the rest of the project. You know, so I'll try to keep it similar to this. I keep wondering in my head if I want to hit this with a white highlight, super fine white highlight right on top, kind of like we did with the Descent. I think I'm going to leave it like this. We said we're going to follow the plans. I'm going to follow the plans. And I'm pretty happy with it. I got a 100-watt bulb streaming right now, so it washes out a little bit of the white on there. But for the most part, I'm really happy. It's not perfect, but, you know, it's a game piece. It's going to be on the table. It's going to look really good. So I'm really excited to move on to the office. I think that's our next section, and that's the one that has the Hobbit-looking door. Maybe. Let me see. I think the office will be a pretty quick build. Building the office. Yeah, this will be pretty quick, because when it's all said and done, it's going to be right here. This is the next piece we're going to build, and it does have that window, so I'm going to do the window in the same earth tone scheme as they're using there on the floor, but this one should go back pretty quick. It's the next rooms after the first two that increase a little bit more in difficulty on there with the builds, and there's a couple that are a little bit bigger, so I'm really excited to keep pushing on. I thank you for watching my videos, and keep subscribing. Oh, one other thing. In the video itself, you probably saw me working on this. This piece is completed now. This is from 3 years ago, that kind of a Hirst Arts how-to with the, that was the first one I did with the tomb, a little tomb on there. So while I was going along, I needed to kind of practice that dry brush a little bit after I got a little heavy-handed, so I pulled this off the shelf, base coated it real quick, and kept doing it. So I'm really happy with how this turned out too. So this is going to look good in the Gothic dungeon. And just to give you a reference of where these, you know, the color of these pieces have come from, you know, this is the original floor tile color right there, and then here's your stone texture color. So we've gone, and I cast in medium gray, not white, so they do look kind of white on there. But if you look at where we started, at what color this floor tile is to where we are now, I am really happy with where that looks. So thanks again for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Please subscribe, share the videos out, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.